YTBC, what's the deal?
There's no way he should be going on. Unsatisfactory. No way. But you'll stop. You won't let the punches go, and then you wait. You get to wait. If you miss a punch, you got to throw the punches. Your volume of punches is too low. You're not punching. It's not like you're tapping. You just gotta let your punches go. Just let them go. This round is for the punches. He's gonna run. That's all he's gonna do. You're never gonna get to the glove round. He's gonna run down. But you got to try. You got to. You do not need to have another bullshit decision. I'm telling you.
Now that was the legendary Emmanuel Steward. I was just playing some clips from his legendary moments in the corner. The first clip was the Wladimir Klitschko versus Eddie Chambers fight. And after that round, Klitschko actually went out there and hit Chambers with a devastating left hook and knocked him out unconscious, man. It was almost scary. That left hook he caught him with, the way that Chambers was hanging over the ropes face first. It was very scary. And then the second fight was from the Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson fight, when Manuel was getting very pissed off at Lennox. Should have played the part when he was like, "You got a dead man walking in front of you. Knock his ass out." Like, he was mad as hell that Lennox would not get Mike out of there. Lennox was being very tentative, and he just wouldn't step on the gas for some reason earlier in that fight. But shit, I understand why. You know, you have Mike Tyson in front of you, although a 2002 version of Mike Tyson, still Mike Tyson swinging at you for the most part. And the reason I made this video, man, is, you know, I'm hearing there's going to be a rematch. I heard Vitaly say that Vlad's going to come back stronger, so on and so forth. I've heard people say that they think that Vitaly is going to come back and try to clean up Vladimir's mess. The reason why I played Emmanuel Steward, and this is no knock on Jonathan Banks, he's doing an excellent job with Wladimir. But there's a difference between the master and the apprentice. And we know RRP, Emmanuel Steward, passed away. So Jonathan Banks has taken on full-time training duties with Wladimir Klitschko, along with Wladimir Klitschko partially training himself from his experience. You know, and Banks did the best he could late in the Fury fight, telling Klitschko that, hey, you need a knockout, you need to step on it, you need to move your hands. But it's just something about the way he was conveying the message to Wladimir. You have to almost be confrontational with him to get your point across, the way Emmanuel Steward would be. Emmanuel would swear at him. Emmanuel would push him, you know, put his hands on his shoulders and talk to him. You know, he would really use some emotion, and Jonathan Banks just lacked the emotion. Now, maybe it's not his personality. I'm not, you know, expecting him to come out there and try to behave like Emmanuel Steward, but I just don't think he was getting the point across to Wladimir enough in their fight. He should have been getting that point across by like round 5. By round 5, Emmanuel Steward would have been knowing what was going on, probably sooner than that. By round 3, probably, that he needed to step on the gas. And Jonathan Banks, you know, I don't know if he's walking on eggshells to keep his job. You know what I'm saying? He is younger, and he's still ranked by BoxRec as a top, I believe, top 40 heavyweight. So, I really don't know if he can get the point across to Wladimir when Wladimir needs it, you know. But Banks did the best that he could. Banks did the best that he could with Wladimir, trying to get the point across, but he just wasn't getting to him. You know, Wladimir wasn't responding at all. And some of you may argue, well, shit, why does he need Jonathan Banks to tell him he's losing a fight? I mean, well, that's why their trainers are there. You know, a lot of people didn't think Floyd Mayweather needed Roger or his father, but that's why the trainer is there. You know, and fighters that disagree with you, that don't believe that, they need a trainer in their corner, man. They do. They need somebody to go to war with them. Not necessarily in the ring, obviously, but at least when they come back to the corner, they need some type of instructions. They need some motivation. They need a lot of things, not just, hey, pivot and use your left hand. You know, it's motivation sometimes, not just telling you technical directions. It kind of intertwines. It kind of meshes together. And I don't think Jonathan Banks, although he does give good technical directions, I don't think he's the type of motivational trainer that Wladimir would need in a fight like Fury. He needed to step up. He needed to go out there and go for the gusto, let his hands go more. I know Jonathan Banks was telling him that, but he just wasn't responding to Banks. As far as a rematch, you know, this kind of taking me down memory lane, man. I think this is kind of like a Michael Spinks, Larry Holmes situation. The awkwardness. I keep telling you guys about Fury was his awkwardness. I've been saying this dude's been awkward for years now. And what I mean by awkward is he's so tall and so, you know, big guy. He likes to fight backwards a little bit. Usually guys that are big and tall like that, most of the time like to come forward and force their power. Now, all of them doesn't, you know, all big guys don't do that. Wladimir Klitschko. There's a lot of guys that, you know, Lennox Lewis wouldn't fight like that all the time. You know, he would mix it up, you know, use his jab, use his boxing skill. But Fury, kind of, you know, like I said, it's giving me kind of like the Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, where he can fight Vladimir 5 times and he'll probably win about 4 of them, probably. Just not because I think he's a historically better fighter, just the style matchups, you know. So I think if it is a rematch, it's going to be the same thing, especially if Vladimir comes out there and fights tentative and the corner that can't get through to him to go out there and throw his hands. Because if you heard, like you heard in that first clip, he was telling Steward to calm down. I am going to go out there and throw my hands. You have to get confrontational with them in the corner as a trainer, I believe. Klitschko, you know, the numbers speak for themselves. 25-3 in title fights, 18 successful title defenses from 2006 to 2015. If you want to throw in his 5 defenses of the WBO from 2000 to 2004, you can throw that in. He's been lineal champ since 2009 to 2015, and he's been unified champ from 2008 to 2015. So the numbers speak for themselves. Now, those numbers are for, you know, today's heavyweights, you know, the 4 titles, because you can say, you know, back in the day, there was a 4 champions walking around when Joe Louis was champion, or Ali, so on and so forth. But for today's 4 trinkets era, that's pretty damn good. People are saying his age. He's 39 years old. And like I say, age really doesn't mean nothing in today's climate. When you have Alexander Povetkin, he's 36. Derek Rossi's 35. Kubrat Pulev's 34. Tony Thompson's 44. Amir Mansour's 43. Antonio Tarver's 47. Ruslan Chigaev is 37. Steve Cunningham is 39. Malik Scott is 35. Luis Ortiz is 36. Bermain Stavern is 37. Lucas Brown is 36 years old. Gerald Washington, a guy who we look at as an up-and-coming prospect, you know, he's 33 years old. So he can still hang around, but as far as beating Tyson Fury, I don't think he can beat Fury. Maybe he can move on and try to fight Deontay Wilder. I'm not sure, but I don't see him beating Tyson Fury, not even in a rematch. But there is some guys that are under 30 that I want to see how they do, you know. And I seen they're talking about putting Anthony Joshua in there with Tyson Fury, and people keep saying that Joshua's a young kid. They're trying to put the kid in there with them. Now, on experience, he does, you know, Fury does have a lot more experience than Anthony Joshua. But if you look at their age, Tyson Fury is 27 and Anthony Joshua is 26. Then you got some other young guys. Jarrell Big Baby Miller, he's 27, a U.S. guy. Parker, 23. Dillian White, 27. Arthur Spilka, 26. Charles Martin, 29. Andy Ruiz Jr. is 26. Trevor Bryan's 26. Dominic Brazil's 30. So it's, you know, you got guys from 23 all the way up to 43 competing in the division, and all of these guys have a shot. It's not like the younger guys are the best out of the crop. There are some of these old guys that can beat some, you know, it's a mixture right now. So I wouldn't say simply because of Vladimir's age that he's done. I just think his style matchup with Tyson Fury is not right for him. He's going to have to go a different direction. Either, you know, try to fight Deontay Wilder, but he wants a rematch. You know, maybe he can come back. But if Wladimir, if he doesn't become aggressive overnight and start to be an aggressive fighter, or have somebody in his corner that can bring the aggression out of him, he's going to be in there and he's going to go in there and be tentative. I mean, he was tentative the whole fight. Even at the end when Banks was telling him you need a knockout, which I thought was, you know, kind of too late in the fight, he was tentative the whole time. I mean, you got to get him aggressive in the corner and get in his ear and tell him what he needs to do early. You can't wait till the 10th, 11th and say, okay, now you need a knockout. By round 3 or 4, I thought Banks should have been telling him, hey, man, you got to land some shots. And if he was telling him this, I can't remember, but if he was telling him and I forgot, He should have pulled Emmanuel Steward, slapped him on his chest, pushed him. Don't let him sit down. You got to do something like that to get to him, to get the point across. I noticed in the 11th round, I didn't get to speak on this. I forgot about it. But in the 11th round, Wladimir did something that was so out of character where he used his head and he head-butted Tyson Fury when he was in a clinch. I don't know if you guys caught that. A commenter left it on my post-fight video. And yes, I did catch that when he landed the headbutt. I didn't get to speak on it. That was so uncharacteristic for Wladimir. That lets me know how frustrated Tyson Fury made him while just pretty much playing with him. I mean, he was just playing games with Wladimir in there. He was just playing with him, man, toying with him. You know, just by the body language of the two fighters, there was one time they were against the ropes and the ref was breaking them, and Fury was kind of behind Vlad, and Fury kind of like took his glove and just, you know, patted Vlad on the back like, oh, sorry, little guy. You know, just kind of just like pretty much just took control of the situation. He took control of Wladimir, man. You know, so I just don't see Wladimir beating him in a rematch. I don't really, you know, I would like to see the rematch just because it wasn't a, you know, nobody got knocked out or beat down or there was 4 or 5 knockdowns. No, he just thoroughly outpointed him. But even being thoroughly outpointed, I don't see Wladimir winning a rematch. Now, I know I compared it to Spinks and Holmes. Those fights were close. Both fights were close on the scorecards. This fight was not close, in my opinion. But if they wanted, like I said, if there's anybody that deserves a rematch, you know, we always talk about what fighters deserve. They deserve this. If there's somebody that deserves a rematch in today's climate, I would say it's Wladimir Klitschko. You know, being a champion for so long, I believe he's the one that deserves it. But again, even if he does get it, I don't see him winning this fight against Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury, you know, I know that he thinks that guys are going to, you know, since he beat Wladimir, that the rest of the guys, you know, some people have the feeling that, okay, well, since he beat Wladimir, everybody else should be a cakewalk. And I don't think that, because they're going to approach fighting him a lot different than Wladimir did. Now, you can argue that a guy like Malik Scott will probably try to fight a similar fight as far as stand on the outside, but he will move his hands, you know, and he has better footwork than Klitschko. But he's not a better overall fighter than Klitschko. But his approach to fighting Fury will be a lot different than Wladimir. Povetkin's approach to fighting Fury will be a lot different than Wladimir. Now, if you would have told me that Derek Chisora would have fought a better fight against Wladimir than Tyson Fury than Wladimir Klitschko was going to, I would have told you you're crazy. But it's all about the approach. It doesn't matter how historically how great the fighter is. If your approach isn't up to par, then you're not going to beat Tyson Fury. And this whole approach of throwing 1 or 2 shots and then holding Tyson Fury, you're not going to win. I don't care who you are. You can be Ali, you can be Evander Holyfield, you can be Jack Johnson, you can be Joe Dempsey, you could be whoever you want. If you're trying to throw 1 punch and then hold, that's not going to be Tyson Fury. Any era, any heavyweight. You know, so if Wladimir Klitschko plans to do the same thing that he did in the first fight, he's not going to win. You know, but Fury better be careful, man, because a lot of these other guys are not going to approach the fight the way Wladimir did. A lot of these guys aren't going to stay on the outside and hold, and when they get inside, they're going to bang. And you know, I don't think Luis Ortiz would approach the fight the same way Wladimir did. You know, it's going to be curious to see what happens. Tyson Fury is the champion right now, but like I've said, man, his road to keeping his titles, now we're going to see how he does as champion. Is he going to be a fly-by-night type of champion, gets the title and then loses in his first defense, or is he going to be a long reigning champion and somebody to be remembered in the heavyweight division? YTBC, I'm out.